Your flight is now ready for boarding.
Well, that was fun. It reminds me of when my friend and I used to make reel-to-reel tape recordings, and we would always title them, but the title now would be politically incorrect, but let's just say it kind of rhymed with retired. Every day I ask myself, is YouTube really worth doing? Is there any point in having a channel? And I usually take the phone and the gimbal with me when we go out, and I think, well, today's the day I may see something that I really want to record and want to have a voice about. But honestly, mostly it's just routine stuff. And this is a small channel. I mean, very small channel, and we're pretty limited in scope. We're out there on the e-bikes, which I've discovered people aren't really that interested in. And we go to the mall, and everybody's seen the mall, and everybody's seen us eat, right? And after that, we go home and play with the cats. So basically, that's the channel, and it works for some channels. I see some channels that can basically have a much more limited scope than that, and people will watch just to see what chair they're sitting in that particular day, But that doesn't really work for us, so I have to think, why do I want a channel? Do I want it to have a voice about something that makes a difference? Or do I want to just talk to people about what's in our life? And each day, I think today would be a good day to quit. And then I think, no, I do want to show somebody something or mention something in the news, whatever it is. Everything moves so fast today, and I think people's attention is so unbelievably short. I don't know about you, but I don't read books anymore. I stare at a screen. I'm always staring at a screen, right? You're watching TV and you're looking at the tablet at the same time, huh? And you listen to those ding-ding notifications. Everything is just super fast. I saw a Korean, it's not a Korean in heritage, I think American, who went to Korea, and he had this channel, and I try and make any video I have relatively smooth so it doesn't make you dizzy watching it. But I noticed one thing that kind of seems to be, quote, I'm doing the air quotes, trending, is this fast movement stuff. It's like watching a John Wick movie, with the guys jumping up and down, upside down, shooting. And that's the way some videos are. And this guy, I could not focus on an object because each thing he focused on was probably less than a third of a second, It's like zoom, 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 Man, it drove me crazy. As well as the hyper speech talk. It was so fast. And the guy almost looked like he was sweaty from running a race of doing the video and the speech. And I looked at his views, and they're huge. They're absolutely huge. I couldn't watch him for 10 seconds, but, So it amazes me what appeals to people. And one of the channels that Josie watches, it's a Filipina in, I won't say so because I don't want to comment on anybody's specific channel. You probably recognize it, but anyway, she just talks really fast. And I thought about this fast talking thing. So I asked AI about this, and they said yes, that a lot of channel creators speed it up. They speed it up to like 1.5 times or 2 times the speed on the speech, because people they really want a fast moving thing, you know. And I guess I'm just not a fast moving thing. Probably never was a fast moving thing. But people like Obama today probably couldn't get elected because they speak too slowly. It allows you time to absorb people's words, you know. Some of the stuff on TV almost seems like you need closed captions just to try and figure out what they said, you know, like a foreign language. But it's English. So, where am I going with this? Everything moves fast and furious, right? And I told you I don't usually read, well, I haven't read a book in years. I used to read books, you know. And books are just kind of a thing of times past, because it's a super short attention span now. And I do the very same thing. When I'm looking at something, you know, you listen for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds max, and then boom, off. Boring, right? Yeah. Well, that's one of the problems you got, I guess. And also, when you get a little bit older, you know, you don't appeal to people because, for one thing, you're just older. You may think that you have a message. You may think that you have some wisdom or something to impart on people. And it turns out, actually, they could care less, right? I think that's true. I think that's really true. Other times you'd like to make a video because you just want to, you see something going so wrong in the world that you think that somehow one more voice out there and people have got to realize the error of their ways or just see common sense. For instance, in the case of Trump and the grifting, you know. But that too, really doesn't work. People of different generations, I think they all have to make the same mistake again, you know. Everybody has to make their own mistake, otherwise they're never going to learn, you know. Whether it's U.S. history, whether it's Philippines history, everybody redoes the same old things and learns the same old things over and over again. So just because you're older doesn't mean anybody's going to listen to you anyway. So, what's another reason that you should do YouTube? Money, right? Money actually is the only logical reason to really do YouTube. And if you are not into e-begging, and e-begging can be for a lot of different things. Views, but money. No, it's really money, isn't it? You know, my dad always told me that everything's about money. Now, if you knew my dad, you'd realize he is the least monetarily oriented person that I could ever imagine. You know, nothing with him had to do with money. But he always told me that. He says, Mark, everything has to do with money. And it's so true. It really is. And no more true than YouTube. YouTube is not really about a voice. No matter whether you're talking about politics or whatever it is, it's all about money. And the way I look at it, it's kind of sad, but hey, it's like my dad said, right? Money, it's all about money. Money makes the world go around, and it's the motive for everything. Everything in life, you know. So, for good or for bad, that's just the truth. And e-begging is what you have to do if you want a successful channel. You really do. But I'm amazed at the expat e-beggars. I think that's probably the thing that irritates me most about YouTube expats here in the Philippines, is that they can possibly come to a country to retire, and then they try and, instead of retiring, they try and cash in on a relatively poor country, or, so I don't offend anybody, a developing country, you know. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. And there's so much subtle e-begging too. People would say, you know, if I only had another way of getting around, so I didn't have to climb in that trike or that Jeep, you know. And then before you know it, they got people sending them money for an e-trike. Or gee, I wish I could make much better videos, you know. If you'd support me, I need that drone. It just, I don't know. It just hits me the wrong way when foreigners move to the Philippines and expect to cash in on the Philippines. So let's see, let's summarize. What have I figured out here? That, okay, age is wisdom? No, that doesn't work. Try and convince people with common sense on YouTube? No, that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm not in it for the money in YouTube? Because I dumped my monetized channel. So we reject that one. So why am I really doing video? Yeah, the truth is I have no idea, and that's the question every day. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see you next time, or maybe not.